Hello, and welcome back to Harrison Talks Pod. I hope you've had a good weekend, a good week. Today, good and bad surprises to start the NBA season in the first 10 days, first couple of weeks. If you are new here, welcome. My name is Harrison Rich. This is my podcast. Every week we talk about NBA basketball. Maybe we talk about gaming, talk about travel, whatever else is going on in the week. There's no guest here today, so it's just me and you. If you aren't new here, welcome back. Please like and subscribe on YouTube or any of our podcast platforms. All right, so today we start with one of my favorite topics, and it's a good topic, the Oklahoma City Thunder. Currently with the second best record in the league at 6-0. They are in first place in the West and have had some uh, very impressive wins to begin the season. It is their first time ever starting 6-0 in the history of the Oklahoma City Thunder or the Seattle Supersonics. They have by far the best defense in the league of these first 6 or 5, 6, 7 games at 95.1 as their defensive rating, which is just phenomenal. Anytime you see a rating below 100 for any stretch of time, that is great. Next would be the Golden State Warriors, which have also been a nice surprise at 101. And then after that, the Dallas Mavericks at 106.4. Really just all some great surprises overall, seeing the defensive effort by the Mavs as well. But we're talking about the Thunder, who don't like the Mavs too much anyways. Uh, will It will even out as course as the season goes on, but has been a super impressive start. And for context, the Timberwolves ended with the best defense last season at 108.4, while the Thunder were fourth last season at 111. So how long can they sustain below 100 for their defensive rating? Who knows? Second at net rating at 17.4, and first would be the Warriors at 17.6. This is despite still having the 15th best offense early on in the season, only scoring 112.5 points in 100 possessions. Players like Alex Caruso have talked about the defensive identity of this team and how it's great and rare that having so many players, or it seems like all the players right now, buying into the defensive identity. And just real quick, I've been hearing a lot about Alex Caruso uh, through the social media these first couple of weeks, and talking about how he's averaging less than 3 points a game and how the Bulls had fleeced the Oklahoma City Thunder. First of all, the Bulls won that trade. But to find the context, all anyone has to do is just ask why it happened. Josh Giddey is in a contract year and will not be fitting into the future Oklahoma City Thunder, who are undefeated and have an outstanding defense. So there's that. That's all. Going back, they are way high up in defensive field goals made at 34.8 makes per game. That is outstanding. Wow, they're only 10th in attempts at 88. This is opponents' attempts, I mean. That is holding opponents to 39.6% field goal overall, which is by far the best. Their margin of victory is 17.7, highest in the league. And even without Hardenstein, Jalen Williams, Kendrick Williams, they have an outstanding 8-man lineup. A versatile 8-man lineup, really, that we've seen so far with different starting lineups. So, if anything, they might have a good challenge later on at full health, just trying to find out of the 11 players, 12 players, which 8 and 9 to play on any given evening. So, lots of positivity all around with this team. Holmgren has an all-star start. He will be an all-star if he continues doing what he's been doing so far. Leads the league in blocks at 3.3 per game and had an outstanding performance against Victor Wembanyama 2 games ago, which has become just a star matchup for the league, without a doubt. SGA has been consistent on both sides of the ball. Awesome defensively. 3-ball isn't there yet, shooting about 28%. But his attempts are at 7.2, which is outstanding. We know that his attempts have had to get up for the Thunder offense to be where it needs to be. Now it's just a matter of shooting consistently. And if he does shoot consistently, I think it's pretty much over for everyone else. Jalen Williams, the other Jalen Williams, has had 3 20-point games so far this season, has looked consistent as ever on defense with 5.6 rebounds per game. Cason Wallace has been a nice surprise to start this season, has looked great on defense, most notably getting a lot of Twitter reactions, shutting down Trae Young to get the win in that Hawks game. Lu Dort is shooting 48% from 3 on 4.8 attempts. What happened? I mean, what happened? Not exactly a volume 3-point shooter, but I didn't see this happening 4 years ago when I loved Lu Dort and saw him as a defensive specialist. So keep going, I think. I most recently watched the Clippers Thunder game over the weekend at Intuit Dome. Oh, move that there. And had 6 players in double figures for the Thunder, including the starting lineup of Holmgren, SGA, Aaron Wiggins, Lu Dort, Jalen Williams, and Isaiah Joe off the bench. Led every quarter after falling behind 28-19 in the first quarter, and had an impressive fourth quarter holding the Clippers to 14 points. So more on the Clippers next week, I think. Need to talk about them. So we do one good, one bad. Bad injuries. And the Indiana Pacers. Most likely the most sad part of this season, I would say so far, is James Wiseman going out in the first game with a torn Achilles non-contact injury. It's been rough for James Wiseman and for anyone that has been following him these last 5 years. Of course, was drafted in the COVID year by the Warriors, and then was out his entire sophomore season. Played 45 games each in the next 2 seasons, and played 63 games for the Pistons last year, which is his most overall, but of course was on a historically bad team and had a decent, at most a decent season on a historically bad team. So out on his Pacers debut, torn Achilles. This is the start of a 2-year, $4.6 million deal, and the future is really just unclear. For any big man who has already had injury history, who was second overall pick, where the first overall pick are assigning a $200+ million deal. It's just really rough, really hard to see. Hopefully makes it back. Hopefully makes it back next year. And luckily he's not on a contract season, if we could say something nice about it. Isaiah Jackson on Friday. Non-contact injury, torn Achilles. This takes the front court depth out of the Indiana Pacers entirely for the season. This is a team that went to the Eastern Conference Finals and was in the finals for the midseason tournament, has had a rough start for Tyrese Halliburton, 24% from 3, 14 points per game. Pacers are 2-6 so far. They do have cap space a little bit at about $15 million. So did they make space? Because we don't see them tanking this year. We don't see them trying to get into the lottery. And although Miles Turner is great and has had a good start to this season, they're going to need depth. So it's just a matter of do they want to budge and do something else? Who else? Embiid is out still. We'll talk about him more in just a bit. PG-13, we'll talk about him more in just a bit. Desmond Bane, Marcus Smart, John Morant missed a game already. Paul Banchero, Steph Curry, Lauri Markkanen, CJ McCollum, Jordan Clarkson, and whoever else. But it's been a rough couple of weeks for the injuries. Going back to good is the Cleveland Cavaliers, who have the best record in the league. 7-0 on the season. I'm going to guess their best start to a season without LeBron in their history since 1971. I'm going to guess and say that's true. I don't know. They're second only to Boston in offense. They're at 121.9. I believe Boston is at 122.1. They are fifth in defense, third in net rating at 14.3. They had a nice reception for Bronny James when they played the Lakers during a blowout where Bronny James got his first career points and only career points so far. They are the best in effective field goal percentage at 61.1, which is phenomenal. And their most impressive win might have been most recently against Milwaukee Bucks, who are 1-5 on the season. That is not. We'll talk about them very soon as well. They had a great ending, very exciting ending this weekend. Lillard hit a go-ahead three with 9.8 seconds left to give him 41 points. That is the second most he scored as a Buck, first being 43 points. And then Mitchell nailed a shot with 0.3 seconds left to go ahead 114-113 and seal it from there. 6 Cavs were in double figures. Mitchell had 30, and Garland, Allen, Mobley, Okoro, Sam Merrill all had double figures as well. 31 assists to 7 turnovers in the game. Very, very efficient. Mitchell is shooting 40% from 3 on the season and is on a similar pace as last season, so expect an all-star year from him. 2 30-point games so far. Mobley is having his best offensive year at 17.7 points per game. So my question is, can he get a 20-point-per-game season? Can he be an all-star this season? Good on defense. Improving on offense. I know there has been negativity about whether or not he will actually get there offensively, but 20 is a good goal, I think. Jarrett Allen, solid on defense. 15 points per game, 11 rebounds per game, which is averaging a career high. And Garland is having his most efficient start offensively to the year at 59% EFG. And 100% from free throw. Hasn't missed a free throw yet. Bad, as I just mentioned, Milwaukee Bucks. Milwaukee Bucks have the worst record in the league. As of today, I'm recording this on a Monday evening, so it's Monday morning in America. As I'm recording this, the Pistons just won their game last evening, so the Bucks have the worst record at 1-5. Currently on a 5-game losing streak. And mentioned in the Cavaliers section, Giannis and Dame had great games. And it's hard to imagine watching that game how much more they could have done. Dame had 41 points, almost won the game for them. Giannis had 34 points, 16 rebounds, and 9 assists, almost a phenomenal triple-double. But not much offense outside of that. Taurean Prince had 16 points. Bobby Portis had 10 off the bench. And for injuries, I'll say it this way. The only key player they're missing is Chris Middleton. That's a huge key player, of course. A star key player, I'll say. That's really it. So there's not a lot of excuse. I mean, if we have a healthy Giannis, who should be a top 3 player in the league, a healthy Dame, who's older but is an all-star, we know everything about Dame, of course. So it's hard to imagine where they really go from here, or if Chris Middleton was healthy, how many more wins do they have at this point? Perhaps they're at 500. Perhaps they're a little bit better. But I was wrong with this team. I was thinking after the Dame trade that this was going to be a top 2 team in the East. And this might be worst case scenario so far, post Dame trade. I was dead wrong. I thought Dame and Giannis together was for sure. I thought Giannis had not played, really Dame had not played, either of them have played with a teammate that good before. But Drew Holiday leaving, going to the championship Boston Celtics. Chris Middleton being injured and not being right last season, being injured this season. Well, coming off of surgery, I should say. It's hard to say. So this might be one of the worst case scenarios, but at the same time, I guess not because they have huge assets. It's hard to imagine that we're already talking about Giannis trade scenarios in the second week. Kind of. The NBA media and Twitter media moves lightning fast, so I guess not. But now Giannis started before the season saying if they don't win a championship, perhaps gets traded. But it seems like something we're already talking about. Don't know. Don't really know. Only thing I could say is that they have assets, don't have money, and could they change their rotations? They've had the same starting lineup the last 6 games. Lillard, Trent Jr., Taurean Prince, Giannis, Brook Lopez. Could they shift? Add in Pat Connaughton and or Bobby Portis, who has had a good start to the season. People in Milwaukee love Bobby Portis. Good. Going back to good. One more good, one more bad today. Good is Anthony Davis. By far. By far. Anthony Davis has had his best start since the 17-18 season, where he played for the Pelicans, of course, but was third place in NBA MVP. He's averaged 31.8 points per game throughout these 6 games. Lakers are 4-2. 31.8 points per game is highest in the league. It is also the highest through 6 games for a Laker since Kobe Bryant's 09-10 season, where he was averaging 34.8 points per game. Can remember that season very well. He's on pace for a career high. What else? He's the only Laker other than Shaq to average 30 points, 10 rebounds, 2 blocks a game in the first 6 games of a season as a Laker. JJ Redick has mentioned many times that AD needs to be the focus of the Lakers' offense for them to be successful. And LeBron is currently averaging 22.2 points per game, has had a triple-double already, has had some phenomenal games. No surprise there. I don't know if we'll ever see LeBron play a season where he doesn't average at least 20 points per game. And I'm saying that in year 22, assuming that he plays after this season. Who knows? So the ceiling should be sky high. The ceiling should be the roof, I think, for AD. Was 6th in MVP in 1920, which included 4th in defensive. No, 6th defensive player of the year. And he was 3rd in MVP in 17-18, where he was 2nd in defensive player of the year. Did I say that right? Anyways. There's no reason why he shouldn't have an all-NBA season. Could he have an MVP season? So, ceiling is best player in the league. And it seems like whatever he was going through in those middle years, the years after winning the championship for the Lakers, I don't know if it's completely gone, but it seems like he's gone back to the right thing. Playing outstanding defense and is only averaging 1.3 threes per game, which is the lowest in his career and way less than 3.5 attempts that he was doing in the championship year. But I think this is much better. Lakers, yes, are 4-2. Have had some tough losses. Haven't been as consistent as we might want to see them. Most recently playing against the Toronto Raptors. They led 76-51 at halftime, but then were outscored 37-23 in the third quarter, eventually going down to single digits. AD, JJ, I think everyone after said they have to be better. They just can't let those leads go away. It's always fun to see LeBronto in Toronto, even after all these years. And it was fun to see the Toronto crowd ask for Bronny in the end and see him play, yeah, I think 4 seconds. So, wow. Toronto crowd asking to see LeBron's son in the game. Just can't believe it sometimes. All right. click off this last one if you don't want to hear about it. But what happened with NBA media this weekend? And what has led up to it? Joel Embiid is what I'm referring to. And of course, initial reports which set Twitter ablaze last night, not even after all the games were over, was that Embiid punched a reporter, and then it quickly came out, I think first from Shams, that he had words with a reporter, or shouted at one, and then shoved him. And the extent of that shove, who knows? People assumed it was Marcus Hayes because of the comments made by Joel Embiid, and by the article made by Marcus Hayes where he brings up his dead brother, his brother that died, and it just is not good. Not good. I'm not going to talk too much about the context of the article. It's out there. Everyone on Twitter is talking about it. You can read the context. You can read the whole article. It's just not good. I'm trying to have a lot of empathy for Embiid. And this is really the only reason why I put it on here today, is because just been thinking about it a lot. I think all of us at some point project in these situations, but all I can say is I can't imagine it. I can't imagine that many eyeballs, that much pressure, being in the situation that he's in, being injured, not being able to do his job the way he wants to or the way he's supposed to. I can't imagine any of this. I could imagine defending my family. I could possibly imagine defending my family at my workplace, although I've never ever had to do that before. But while I can imagine the process that I would go through, I can't imagine what I would do in Embiid's situation. I just hope that I would not be physical. Never been physical in my life, so I hope not. I'm not too happy with the reception it's gotten, saying that it's 100% justified and everything. I think I would rather look at it from a pragmatic standpoint, much like I do other parts of my life, and think what led up to it and what could have been done before it escalated. But it sounded like it escalated pretty quickly, even though there were, of course, words that were published and things that were said in press conferences leading up to it. So hopefully it brings accountability. Hopefully it does bring some positivity to it, because there have been plenty of times, especially recently with NBA media, where I feel like they could be more receptive. They could be more together on things. They could maybe do better with holding players accountable, holding themselves accountable. I think someone besides Embiid should have said something and should have stepped in, especially assuming that, because Embiid has said that this is not the first time this has happened with Marcus Hayes and Embiid before. So if there's any positivity that comes out of it, hopefully we can just think that if someone posts something like that, we can say, hey, like, perhaps don't do that, because we should treat NBA players like people, first off, and also don't want to get hit. So I don't know. But maybe we should just say, treat people like people, especially when you're in the same workplace. You're working together with different employers and employees, but you're still working together at the same place. So, That's all there. Anything that I say on this situation has already been said already. Uh, Not surprised with reception. Should stay off Twitter more, but yeah, it was a weekend. I was watching basketball. Last positive note. Hopefully tonight, PG-13 is back. It makes its debut. That is what has been said. The Sixers are currently 1-4, and everything that I said in my preview episode, concerns of injury, age, timeline, it's all the same for this team. So that's it. Three big surprises, six surprises, three good, three bad. Besides maybe the Thunder, where I'm not really too surprised about their start in the season. But thank you so much. I hope that you enjoyed being here with me today, and I hope that you have a great rest of your week, and I'll see you next time.